Hi, my name is LEAH GOREN and I'm an illustrator. I work on a variety of projects including book covers, textiles, product packaging, and more. I am teaching figure drawing and portrait drawing with a lean towards illustration. This is something I incorporate in my work all the time and I want to share it with my students. So the first step in getting started is to decide what photos you want to work from. It's helpful to find people with different facial structures, different looks. Maybe they're pointing their face in a different way, like profile, side, 3/4, up and down. So I think I'm going to start by working with this face for no real particular reason, except that it seems like it might be a nice one to draw. And I'm really just doing a light background sketch of it, and this is probably like the classic thing that you see where there's like a line down the center and then a line where the eyes are. I don't know like a real technical way of describing that or doing that, but it's still, in doing the sketch, it's still something that I'm gonna do in order to know where these features are going to be placed and make sure everything is generally symmetrical. And then the nose I kind of like block in like a triangle and go from there. So I'm really just looking at this, and I mean I can even like trace my like pencil light over this photo and I can see how this kind of curves down here, and I'm just gonna emulate that lightly onto my paper. And then it's really all about observation. I can see how the face curves here and comes in right here. So I'm gonna try to do that little area where it comes in and then it goes out on the cheek. So, and you know, if it doesn't end up looking like the person, that's fine. Unless you're like doing an illustration where you have to be getting a likeness, for the most part, you can use the image as reference, but just go from there. It's really as detailed as you want to make it. If you are more concerned with getting a better likeness or getting like a more natural look, you're probably going to want to spend more time blocking things out and making sure they're in the right place before you really commit to any one line. But if you're not concerned with that, like, you can just go for it. I mean, later on, I'm showing this as a foundation right now, but later on, like, you can skip the sketch entirely and just go from observation and just draw it really quickly, or you could skip the sketch and go from observation and spend a lot of time getting any little detail down. So what I'm trying to do right now is just like show you what your options are. That for me, that like maybe this is good enough for right now. Maybe I want to start like putting her shirt in, or maybe not. You can also use like the angle thing again, like I can see that the strap is on this angle like this. It's like a pretty sharp angle. So if I can capture that, that's awesome. And now I'm gonna just go in there. And yeah, you're not on any particular time limit right now. So maybe I would want to make this quick, or maybe I wouldn't. If you want, you can try doing these timed and see how that affects your final drawing. As I go, I'm making choices on what it feels important to include and what it isn't. So like clearly like these nostrils are dark, and that's like a part that is integral to capturing the face. So like I might not choose to include this like curve of the nose or like the shading around the eyes, but like that's something that's really important in making this look like a face. So I'm gonna make sure that like that's one of the first things that I put in there before I move on. In capturing the energy or the feel, you're ensuring that you don't get too caught up in one detail, which can definitely throw off the proportions of the whole piece. If you're trying to get things generally proportional, if you're not, that's a different story. But it's like I'm getting the whole face down at the same time and getting everything generally in the right place, so that when I do go into the details, I know that when I'm spending a lot of time observing that eye and drawing all the curves of it, that I'm putting it in the right place, and I'm not gonna have to worry about like erasing it or going back. And I mean, to me, like, this is generally done for like a warm-up kind of a drawing. Like, this isn't really like a totally finished piece, but it's showing pretty much like all the information that it needs to show to register the face. And I chose to include some things and not include other things. And I'm gonna move on to the next one. So now for this next one, I'm gonna do something that feels very similar, but we're gonna try to make it look a little bit more finished. And in order to make it look more finished, I'm gonna drop the background sketch so that we don't end up with like these lines that are going all the way through the face, because for the most part, a finished drawing or illustration is not gonna have that. So in order to do that, I'm gonna get out a very light pencil. This is 5H, which is about as light as it gets. And I'm also gonna have an eraser. This is a kneaded eraser, which I like because it doesn't make any, what are they called? Eraser shreds that go everywhere, but you can use any type of eraser. And really, I'm just gonna do exactly the same thing, but knowing that when I'm done, I can erase this full background sketch and it's gonna be like it was never even there. So I'm gonna draw this person right here, and I guess I'll put it down here because I think that'll work for me. And sorry if I'm moving things. So this pencil is like super light, and you can see how it's all just gonna like be gone when I erase it. It's not only a light pencil, but I'm using it with a really light touch. And that's really all you need. You just want to be able to see these lines that you're putting down. And I'm doing the same thing where like I'm just making like tons of lines. Personally, like, I feel like this is kind of like a cool look just to have in your sketchbook, you know, like, or, you know, you could like post it and show people your practice sketches. Like, I like how the two colors look together a lot. I mean, it's nice to see a bit of the process. If anything, I'm a little bit more hesitant in like using the pencil because I'm like, well, what if it doesn't erase all the way? And then you can see a little bit of it. So, and honestly, like, as I'm doing this, I don't know how correct my proportions are. I didn't check. I'm really just feeling it out. I don't think the sketch that I made really looks that much like this woman. For me, that's not a priority. I know I'm like teaching you how to draw portraits, so maybe I should be telling you like exactly how to get it right. And I'm not, but if that is something you're more concerned with, you can go back to that, like finding angles with your pencil. So I can take like an angle from the eye to the mouth on her and then move it onto my page and be like, okay, did I get that in the right place? Because the closer you are to getting those angles, the more it's going to end up looking like her. And just observing the shape of everything, like what is the shape of this upper lip here? But you know, I feel like for me, I've done enough lines here. I'm kind of just looking for a successful face. If it looks like her, great. If it doesn't, okay. So now I'm gonna move on and let's just use the blue one this time. And again, I'm gonna start with the hair. You don't have to, for whatever reason. For me, it feels natural because it's a big shape and it's also helping get the outline, like it's getting her hair is going around the side of her face and around her shoulders, so I can observe that line and get it in there and know that once that's in there, that's like a big part of the face that's sculpted out of there. And now that I did that, I can see, like, is there anything I want to touch up? Like, this might be nice if it was a little bit more solid. Really doesn't look like her, but that's okay. Honestly, I think I prefer the first one, but it might just be that, like, I like the way that I drew that face more than I drew this face. I think this looks a lot less like her, which, like I said, it doesn't really matter, but for me, I'm like, okay, well, I probably would want to try that one again and see if I could do this particular drawing a little bit better. And I think that's fine. Like I keep saying, if you don't like one, just move on to the other one, because faces are hard and not everyone is going to turn out exactly perfect.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe to stay up to date on all of our latest videos.